Stand by for ludicrous speed.
Okay, my dear Greg Saunders.
Gregory.
Eagle looking great. Your go.
Greg Saunders.
Greg Saunders.
Greg Saunders.
Wow. Hey, great.
We interrupt this sound file to bring you a terrifying announcement.
Are you aware that you're leaking coolant at an alarming rate?
Show us the skills that have made you a media darling.
Well, I'm glad we got all that out in the open.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Saturday morning Stateline show.
We're about to see if this is going to work here. Yeah, it's going to work. Thankfully. Oof. All right. There you are. Unmute. Grab some video.
And unmute. Okay, I'm hanging up the phone.
We're live on YouTube, everybody. Yeah, up to the last second technical issues making us just... Well, Tom's wearing a hat, so he's not pulling his hair out. That's good.
Yeah, I already did that a long time ago.
What do you think? You like it?
Oh, I like it. Down on the farm. Nice.
Let's...
It's not a farm. That's the moon or something.
This is the Mars rover.
Mars rover.
Here, buddy. They landed that sucker on the planet Mars.
Wow,
NASA,
that's
way
incredible.
to go.
That is quite incredible. Wow.
Absolutely incredible. I haven't watched any of the videos yet. Will eventually here, but absolutely amazing accomplishment of the human race launching something and landing on Mars and driving it around on another planet. That is unreal.
It is.
Hopefully our microphone is working on on Facebook this morning like it was last week. As I mentioned before, if you're watching on Facebook, you're not getting the whole show. You're just getting the audio if the audio is working. And if the audio is not working, all you're getting is my handsome mug. That's it. Good. The first couple of times we tried this, Tom, they weren't getting audio at all on Facebook. So people that were tuning in were like, we can't hear you at all, Greg. So yeah, we'll check back next week. And I'm like, yeah, I get it.
All right, so the story of my crazy week with my computer, my buddy is an IT guy, and so we had lunch, and he was going to go ahead and try and reset it and get me back to a point, like a restore point or something. Well, it didn't really work because Microsoft, I really don't like Microsoft. Windows 10 has a thing where you can only restore it to a point that you've already talked about. You can only restore it to a point that you've already that you've already put in your computer. Well, I had no point in there, so we restored it. It took about 15, 16 hours to completely go through the motions and restore. And then it restored it to an hour before we had lunch. So it didn't do any good. But what I think it might have done is it corrected the problem I had last week. Maybe. Apparently it did, because last week, if you remember, I couldn't talk to you. My microphone wasn't working. So I got that resolved. My video's working. Everything's fine.
We had a fun time being on the phone on my microphone, which was a challenge.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
It actually worked.
Yeah.
I'm sharing real quick here to a couple of spots to we're going to have a special guest here this morning. At least we're planning on having a special guest should everything work like it's supposed to. As we've had on my daughter and her family from Texas before. They're in Texas. They're outside of Fort Worth.
Oh,
yeah. I want to talk to them a little bit about their experience with the power outages and rolling blackouts and the water issues that they're having there now. It's just sad. It's just it's one of those things where, you know, you talk about preparing for preparing for the worst, hoping for the best, preparing for the worst. And they've had this terrible situation down there with the weather doing something it hasn't done basically in 100 years. Where have we heard that before?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So if you don't mind, I'd like to read about a 30-second email or text.
What do you got?
Well, I said, hey buddy, how are you doing? Have you been hit by the cold? Are you still just south of the mess? It's been really cold here, hovering around 0. And he says, sure, we just got power back last night after 5 days in freezing in Texas, in freezing cold, down to night. Kitty cat, you're gonna have to go, dude. Sorry, my cat is jumping on my computer.
I'm like, wait a minute, that wasn't a text. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
That's not gonna work. Anyway, it says freezing cold down to 19. No electric heat, water, or internet. Really bad. But we had it better than most because he was able to. This guy, he's always prepared. He was able to go out and get some propane heaters, 5 gallons of gas for the propane tanks, stove, 10 cases, 5 gallons of water, 10 cases and 5 gallons of water, water purifiers and filters, and a month's supply of emergency food, as well as a ton of dry and canned goods. And he goes, come on, man. LOL. I was ready. Okay, now here's the funny part. You know where he lives? Corpus Christi, Texas.
Oh my gosh.
You know how far south that is? You could be Mexico.
Yeah, that's way down there.
And sorry for that thought there. But anyway, yeah, he's usually about 250 degrees in the summertime. Corpus Christi, Texas, down to 19 degrees.
That's insane. That's just insane. I mean, below 0 temperatures in parts of Texas, and to have that happen too, that is just
yeah. And then a follow-up text. I'm sorry about that. A follow-up text says, "Yeah, we'll be back in the 60s tomorrow."
Right, and that's what you hope. This cold snap that's hit the middle part of the country lasted way longer than it normally does. I mean,
well, even if it took them like 3 or 4 days to get back to the 60s. At least that's better than what we got here. We've had this cold snap for God knows how long. This has been absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And I've shoveled. You know what I do? I take care of a quadriplegic. Well, I shovel the walk and the drive, and I do my own walk, my own drive. And I've got a neighbor who is, I don't know, 75, 77, whatever. Not exactly a big burly guy, you know. And so I've been shoveling his walk too. So these last 2-3 weeks, I have just been shoveling like crazy. Oh, and somebody stole my snowblower.
No. Oh, that's
old anyway. Stephanie, our friend Stephanie gave it to me. Stephanie lives around the corner from me. And for those of you who don't know, Stephanie is our sales staff at the radio station. Her and I have been practically best friends for 28 years.
Rock star over there at Town Square Media.
So she gave me her old snowblower.
Okay. You know, I had an old
she's awesome.
that walked away.
She's so awesome.
Well, we do have a big number of the week this week. It is 354,000. The answer will be cakes or college. And did I get that right? Let me see here. I think I deleted something by accident. Oh, that stinks. That really stinks. In my rush
Look,
this
I'm on the
morning,
comeback trail here.
yeah, in my rush this morning to get things together, it looks like I may have deleted something that I did not mean to delete. Wow.
Go to your history.
Let's see.
Go to your history, and you'll see it there.
Well, I need to do something here first and see if I can fix this on the fly without. All right, if I copy that. Wow, this is
okay. While you do that, I'll talk amongst myself. I know that you probably wanted to talk about it. The passing of Rush Limbaugh. You mentioned Rush, and it immediately went to that. Wow, what a sad day, huh? What an absolute icon.
This week
and
was
apparently he had passed away right around the.
This week was a
rough.
Interesting week. I think it was Tuesday when we heard the passing of Christian artist Carmen.
Yep.
He was 65.
65 years old.
Battling cancer for a number of years. And again, no surprise, but sad that such an iconic artist in Christian music world. Well, he met his maker on Tuesday, and a lot of folks giving him, memoriam, whatever you call it, memoriams, in memoriams. A lot of remembrances posts on Facebook and such. ClassicChristian247.com, my favorite source for Christian music these days. Had a little post about him, and I'm sure they played a bunch of special music of his too this week to honor the late great Carmen. And then the next day,
is that Schlote's thing?
That's Mike Schlote's thing with Doug Smith. Yeah, they've or Doug White. Yeah. I mean, Doug White and Mike Schlote have been running that now for over a decade, and great online only radio station. And then the next day, of course, the passing of 70-year-old Rush Limbaugh, who really did change radio. He saved AM radio. I hadn't really thought of it this way before until they were talking about it this week. When he launched in the 80s, his show, talk radio on the AM was pretty much almost dead. I mean, they barely had a heartbeat at all. It was
somewhat new too, though. It was. Yeah. I think it was because talk radio hadn't been around that much, other than maybe like a WGN or back in the day. This is long before your time, because you weren't here. You're old enough to remember it, but you weren't here. It was Triple R Radio, which is 1330. Mm-hmm. It's where Doug McDuff started out, as a matter of fact. Maybe he didn't start there, but he was there in his early days. And my grandpa used to listen to it, and it was basically talk radio. But national talk radio, as we know it today, I don't know if there was much before Rush. There was a little bit here and a little bit there, but he put it on the map. You are absolutely correct. He put it on the map in spades. And then from there, it just absolutely took off.
Yeah. And, you don't forget your political persuasion, whatever your political persuasion is, put that aside. The significance of what he did for an entire industry can't be ignored. I mean, It's unbelievable. He was on, there was a few hundred talk radio stations when he launched his show. And then all of a sudden there's 1,300 stations across the country that are doing talk radio format because there was now money in it, because people would actually tune in because it was compelling enough to take time to tune in and check out. So, hats off and remembrance to Rush Limbaugh, and there'll be the legacy of Limbaugh will be living on for our lifetimes and more, I'm sure.
I remember when I first heard Rush Limbaugh, 1988. I'm pretty sure I'm close to that. 88, I believe, is when ROK, which was always my radio station of choice. Back then, they were top 40. I started hearing this midday stuff from this guy, and I didn't like him because I simply didn't listen. I'm like, who is this? What is that? Get that off my radio. I want music. And I'm looking around for something else. And all of a sudden, Rush Mania started, within a month or two.
Did you hear what he said yesterday? Did you hear what he said yesterday?
Ever since. Yeah. Yes, exactly. And I was hooked from that point on. And then I started at the station at ROK in 94, June of 94. But I'd been in radio for about a year and a half already, working for LUV. And he had already, by that time, he'd been 6 years into it, 5-6 years into it. And he was iconic. And so to work there at the station with Rush Limbaugh being there and on our station, that was incredible.
Yeah.
That was incredible.
Very, very, very cool to be a part of that. The stations I programmed down in Rochelle, we never did add Rush to the lineup because they weren't going to allow that. It was too close. We were able to grab Hannity, but we had midday programming that we weren't going to lose anyway down there, but we weren't going to let that go. But his footprint, his presence was felt literally coast to coast, and just an amazing accomplishment of his lifetime and the different things he tried. Wasn't he on? He did a TV show for a while and decided that really wasn't for him. Didn't they have him on Monday Night Football for?
I loved his TV show. No, they had him on. He was on ESPN, and he was doing the prime time before the football broadcast. Yeah,
absolutely amazing. So, hey,
he wrote 2 or 3 books, and I read them all. And like you said, put your politics aside. Just listen to the guy from the perspective of critical thinking, the way he thinks through these things, the way he brings out points that you and I might never, ever get to. Not because we're not smart, but because we're not of that mindset. We simply don't think like he did.
Right.
And my hat's off to him.
Well,
so you were going to say, I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to get on here. Got to make sure we on the fly. There we go. What I was going to say before everything, we were launching at the last second here trying to figure out technical things, is if you put Alexa on top of a Roomba, boom, you've got a prototype for Rosie from the Jetsons. Then I was going to tell you the big number of the week, which I already did. Cakes or college, big number this week is 354,000. And this week's been an interesting week for a lot of different reasons. One of the big reasons for us around here, and by the way, again, if you're on Facebook, click the link and join us on YouTube, because then you'll be able to see Tom, and then later Joann, if she is able to join us today. Who knows? Hopefully Zoom doesn't give her the same problems that Zoom gave Tom today, and that might be why my daughter's not yet logged in, because I think Zoom did a reboot or something, and it's requiring people to reactivate their accounts and stuff. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but I'm glad we're on with the show. But if you're on Facebook, please click the YouTube link and join us on YouTube. And I know I don't say it as much as a lot of the YouTube videos, but do please like and subscribe. That really does give us a little shot in the arm, and that's not vaccine. It's a happy boost of, hey, someone actually cares.
They always say that button right there, or is it there, or wherever.
It's down there.
Like and subscribe. Big red oval, whatever it is.
Can't miss the word subscribe. Please subscribe.
That's right.
But yeah, that's for these days. And I was this week at Keller Williams Realty. We had our annual convention, which we call Family Reunion. Okay. And you will remember last year I was live from Dallas in February.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. You hosted the show that day completely, because I only checked in for the first few minutes of the show live from Dallas for Family Reunion, which was a nice big convention. Oddly enough, one of the main speakers last year for Family Reunion wasn't able to make the stage and speak because he got ill with probably COVID. Simon Sinek was one of our main speakers last year, and the morning, like the night of, and the night before and the morning of, he had flu-like symptoms and was like, I'm sorry, I can't go on. And which was okay, because Gary Keller's an amazing speaker, and he'll, give him a microphone. He'll talk for as long as you want about real estate and technical stuff. So this year's family reunion was supposed to be in Las Vegas, and instead it was all live from Austin, Texas. Think about that for a second. All the stuff that was happening in Texas this last week was happening while our family reunion convention was going on, and they pulled it off. They barely had a hitch at all. Technical wise, everything else, they made it happen. I don't know. They must have had lots of backup generators and whatever to make sure they had power, continuously the whole time. Kudos to Keller Williams Realty International, based out of Austin, Texas, for pulling off an online worldwide convention while their state was going through, some of the worst weather situations they've gone.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, as big as Texas is, this thing affected the entire state just about.
Yeah.
It affected, because another friend of mine lives in Oklahoma, which is right on top of Texas. He said they had 10 degrees. This thing affected the entire South. So all of Texas. So you couldn't find a warm spot in Texas. And if Corpus Christi was 19 degrees, then Dallas and everything else had to be cold.
Right. So they were battling that, and they pulled it off. We had a great time. We at our market center in Loves Park, we had agents attending there. A lot of our agents just attended from home and watched on the screens, and it was just amazing. One of the folks that were talking about just technology in general was talking about the fact that on YouTube, when you go to YouTube now, they're basically tracking everything you do. That's, if you haven't figured that out by now, either you're not using it very often or you're not paying attention. Everything that you click on a Google platform, whether it's Gmail or YouTube or whatever Google apps you might use, they're tracking you. And it's not necessarily a nefarious thing that they're doing. They want to give you what you like, so you stay on the platform longer. That's what they're doing. So a lot of people, we've been hearing that, according to the speaker at the convention, a lot of people aren't subscribing and liking videos on YouTube very often, because YouTube kind of does that for you anyway. It's kind of automatic. So when you like and subscribe a page like ours, Saturday Morning Stateline Show, and it shows up as Greg Saunders 70 on the link, just so you're aware, that's my account. That's when you click and like and subscribe on that, you're really not necessarily boosting your ability to follow us on the platform. It's really just a pat on the back to us to say, yes, we do like you, and we want to keep following you and checking your show out once in a while, if not weekly. Because as long as you watch any part of it, YouTube is going to say, oh, you probably like that because you spent more than 5 seconds looking at it.
That's right. That's right. There's I don't know about a danger. I don't know if that's the right word, but back probably 5, 6, 7 years ago, we had Netflix. My daughter had the account, and of course you can log in with someone else's. I think they give you up to 5 or whatever. All right, fine. So Orange is the New Black. I think I've seen it one time, and I didn't like it. It was stupid. But what happened was, because I'd watched it, my daughter calls me up and says, "Dad, did you watch Orange is the New Black?" I said, "Yeah, I checked into it for maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I did not like it. I had no idea what it was. No idea. Did not like it." Well, anyway, so what happened was, it said, because you watched, or because you liked Orange is the New Black, here's some other video suggestions. And one of them was prison women, or women in prison. It was a documentary. And there were all kinds of these types of shows. And my daughter's literally calling me out saying, "What are you doing watching those?" I'm like, no. I didn't. Anyway, It was just kind of funny.
And someone who knows way more about that than us than we ever will, Tom, is Mike Wilson, my son-in-law down in Texas. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
You can turn up a smidge if you want. You're fine, but we can hear you good. I'm so happy to see that your ceiling fan is running and your power's on.
Yes.
I was just going to say the exact same thing. There's no icicles coming off your ceiling fan.
Yes, no longer any icicles down here, but we definitely have a lot of friends who are not as blessed to say that same thing. So it's a little crazy.
Well, you're technically not in Fort Worth, right? You're just outside of Fort Worth.
Yes, just outside of Fort Worth in a city called Westworth Village. Yes.
So I think we've had this conversation before. I'm of the mindset where I never want to live in a metro ever. I'm happy to be on a collar county and a collar town of a place like Rockford or a place like Milwaukee or Madison. But I don't want to live in Rockford, Milwaukee, or Madison. I sell houses in Rockford all week long, all month long, all year long. And I'm happy for those who like living in that proximity. Like Tom. Tom lives in the city of Rockford. He likes being, near everything. And that's great. My mindset though, is I don't want to be in that congested of an area anymore.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up in that kind of an area. So my comfort level is a little bit on the outside. I'm happy to drive to where I need to go. Your power, I guess, based on where you guys are living, is it because of you're farther enough north? Why did your power not go out?
Honestly, I'm not quite sure. Because there are some other kind of outside of the city type little towns, and like White Settlement, all of their power, their water was turned off. Literally probably just a mile up the road. It seemed like it was kind of traveling west and it was coming to us. And then it seemed like it stopped from the west and started coming east out of the city toward us. I'm like, okay, yeah, we're bound to get hit now. And our water like hiccuped for like a minute or two. And then it came back on. It was like, okay, what was that? But I'm honestly, my theory is because we're so close to the air base, like there's a lot of weather that we just don't seem to get. There's a lot of different things that happen. It's a little hypothesis, but I'm thinking because we're so close to their grids and what's going on with the actual military base that, things just really don't affect us the same way.
That was my thought too. When Krista was mentioning that your power really never went off, I was like, that's probably because you're so close to the Air Force Base there, and they're not going to.
Your internet's probably pretty good too, isn't it?
It's okay. We have so many jets that fly over, and the kind of just rattles a little, but it's okay.
Well, there's a lot happening in almost the entire state of Texas because of the power grid that covers almost the entire state. Are you getting word that things are going to get back online this weekend? What are you hearing in Texas?
Yes, it seems that way. Today is, 40s. By the middle of next week, it'll be up around in like mid 60s. So we're looking at everything being back online, things going straight back to normal. It was just kind of one of those quick, I call it quick being from Illinois, but that this week has just been remarkable because of during the day, it would get above freezing. So everything would melt. And then at night, everything would freeze over. So it's like, you're not dealing with the snow so much. It's that ice that is just, no one really can, even being from Illinois, it's hard to drive on ice, regardless of who you are. There's no all weather tires down here. Everything is like special order and it takes months to get here. And you don't really know you need it until you absolutely need it. And so, and don't get me started on going to like the home improvement stores. Everything is just crazy right now. But I believe everything will be back online and pretty much back to normal as of probably today or tomorrow. And just praying for our friends again, there's been a lot of ceilings that have caved in due to pipe breaks. And we were, the state itself really just was not ready for something like that to happen. The snow apocalypse once again. It happened 10 years ago when we first moved down here, and here we are again.
And you can't really be expected to be prepared for something like this. When it does happen, it's usually a day or two and it's gone. So when it happens for a week, obviously there's a lot of sad stories going on with people who just weren't able to care for themselves at all. Right. The sad story, the guy found in his recliner basically froze to death a couple of days ago. Just so sad. I'm curious if you know this, Mike, and this might be an unfair question, but does insurance cover stuff like this for people? I mean, the home damage that's going to be caused by frozen burst pipes and stuff, it's unprecedented.
I mean, honestly, when it comes to those little clauses, depending on what kind of riders you have on your insurance, a lot of it says, that it kind of is against acts of God, right? And it does not cover those acts of God. And it's kind of like, okay, well, I don't know if this is an act of God or Frosty or whose issue this was. And so I'm really not sure. But I would hope and pray that there would be something to help these individuals. And I do have some friends again who insurance has covered the pipe breaks and the hardwood flooring is messed up and those things. But yeah, I'm not quite sure, on a bigger scale.
Okay. Well, if you would keep us kind of up to date, if you hear of anything when it comes to helping out in a situation like this, I mean, there's always, Red Cross and Salvation Army and stuff like that are probably have some resources for people that are in desperate need and stuff like that. We always talk here on this show about helping locally, give where you live, that sort of thing. If you have any connections in Texas, friends, family, whatnot, I'm sure you'll want to give where they live too. So if you come across anything, or we can give to a specific need, please let us know and we'll post it on the show page on Facebook and let everybody know that, hey, here's a very specific need. If you can help this out, please donate here.
Most definitely. And we'll definitely be donating where our church actually is going right now. And we're meeting in this historic 512 building downtown Fort Worth. And they do have a woman's shelter that's on the top floors, and they weren't able to get their meal delivery. And so that's something that we'll actually be doing this weekend to take up to the church tomorrow when we go, and blessing those ladies. And because again, they weren't able to get any food this week. And so whatever they had there at the historic building was what they were able to use. And they've pretty much run dry. So we'll be giving there, and I will definitely send you a link and a post to everything that they have going on. And that'd be awesome if you guys could give to that. That'd be great.
Awesome. All right. Sounds good. Well, anything else you want to add from Texas while we got you on here for another second?
Of course. We miss you. We love you guys, of course. It's been a great week, needless to say, all the stuff that's been happening. We've been blessed and, really been able to see how God has really been showing favor on our family. And so I thank you guys so much for your prayers up there. We'll continue to stay strong down here and encouraging our neighbors.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Love you too. And we'll keep in touch.
I have one question, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I just read a text from my friend who lives down in Corpus Christi. He said it was 19 degrees. What was the lowest you guys got? And you're considerably a lot farther north in Dallas, Fort Worth. The other question is, he said it should be 60 in the next day or two, maybe today, tomorrow. What about you guys? Are you guys going to be back up to 40, 50, 60?
Oh, yes. By midweek, I believe I seen 68. And the lowest we got, wind chill was closer to like 8 degrees, but I think the lowest we got were in the 20s, like 24, 25.
Wow.
And so
unbelievable.
Yeah, it was a cold one.
All righty. Well, hey, thanks.
Stay warm.
Yeah, stay warm, and we'll keep in touch, Mike.
All right. You guys have a great day.
All right. You too. There's Mike Wilson down in the Fort Worth, Dallas area of Texas. And they were one of the lucky families down there. The very few problems this past week where some were just devastated. No power for not just a few hours, but days. And when the power came back down, the floor didn't keep up to get houses back up warm enough to not keep the pipes from freezing. Just crazy stuff.
So from a real estate perspective, is it true that the sale of homes near military bases is going way up?
Here we go. Hey, location.
That's right.
Never forget, location matters. And that's, you're right though, Tom. You hit the nail on the head there. It's where you want to be, and you got to take the good with the bad. If you want to be somewhere where you're farther out into the country and you aren't real close to, certain resources, you got to stock up on those resources. You got to understand what it might be like to be a couple weeks without being able to get into a store. Because with all the snow we've had this year, it still hasn't been terrible when you really, when you really think about it, it could have been a whole lot worse. We've had worse. And it's only, you're inconvenienced for a few days until the plows work things out, and our plows have been working just fine. But what should happen if we get a storm that just doesn't stop for a week? We get 6, 8, 10 feet of snow. It could happen someday. So you gotta be at least somewhat prepared for that sort of thing. So, the
interesting thing is, I have another friend who lives. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I have another friend who lives in Seattle, and he tells me that if they get 2 inches out there, they're done. They're done for a couple of days. They don't have the plow equipment. They've got plows for like the main interstates or whatever, but not for the arterial roads. They don't have. They can't do anything. He can't get out of his subdivision because there's no plows that go through there, and he can't maneuver through.
No.
So it just cripples a town.
They've got construction equipment,
and you know what? When you get a snowfall every 5 years,
right,
you get a snowfall or a record cold once every 5 or 7 or 8 or 10 years. What it might say 10 years ago when they had the last go around with this. You can't keep that equipment around and not use it for 10 years.
No,
you don't have the storage space. You don't have the money to buy it.
So, that's true. All right, we're going to see if we can get into some, it's already like 36 minutes past the hour, and we did pretty much start on time today in spite of our technical issues. So that was pretty impressive to me. Is this going to look okay? Oh, that looks weird. It's SMS info time.
Just a floating head.
And
with a floating head.
That's probably just a little too freaky, so we'll just go back to this. SMS info, quick look at our weather forecast here in the Stateline. Chicago Rockford International Airport, last check was below 0. The updated temperature reading is telling me we are now at 0 degrees, just a stone's throw away from our studio here in the lovely village of New Milford. Going to get up into the 20s today and in the 30s for tomorrow through the rest of the week. Good idea, and people have already started doing this in the areas. Make sure the snow and ice is clear of your street's drains. If you know where, there we go. That doesn't fade out. SMS info.
I'll just hold this here. Yeah, there you go. All right.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you. Make sure the drains are clear on your street. So when this stuff does start to melt, you don't get flooding on your street because it's going to freeze overnight. So if you are able and you have a metal shovel, clear out the drains near your house on your street. Trust me, you'll be happy that you did. It is the 20th day of February, the year 2021, the latest it's ever been.
In the history of mankind.
Take your time. And lots of local stuff to touch on this week. Crisis Pregnancy Center in Rockford. They need to find a new place to store their mobile unit, the Stork Bus. They use this to go out into the community and reach women who are unable to come to their location off of State and Alpine. They do wellness checks. They do ultrasounds. It's a 24-foot long, 7-foot wide, 10-foot tall bus. It's amazing. And they have they need a heated space because there is water lines in the bus. They need easy access for their driver to come and go, yet it still needs to be a secure place. Something of a central location area would be possible. It would be really, really nice if in Rockford would be most desirable. Budget friendly rent would be nice as well. Free would be amazing if you could donate the space, but that's not necessarily expected. If you or someone you know could help out with storage, warm storage space for the Stork Bus for the Crisis Pregnancy Care Center of Rockford, please call Tracy Bright, their executive director. The number over there is 815-680-5101. I believe we posted this on our Facebook page as well earlier this week. Crisis Pregnancy Center of Rockford, 815-680-5101. Tom knows this. The best donuts in town probably come from Doughboys Donuts. Would you agree, or would you have another place that you would say, is that Doughboys?
That's where these came from.
Ah,
Yep.
good for you.
Isn't that funny? You did not know that.
Nope.
And these are my little donut holes that I'm avoiding eating on the air because I don't really want to do that. But
Well, you know
God,
what?
I'm dying for my donut holes.
This is an appropriate time to eat those, Tom, because we're talking up Doughboy Donuts. They're on North Main Street, 3451 North Main in Rockford. Their second location is actually not far from me, over on 11th Street, 3330 11th
That's
Street,
right.
south side of Rockford. If you Google best donuts in Rockford, you'll see Doughboy Donuts is the best reviewed out of 189 Google reviews. They got 4.6 out of 5 stars. Yelp users agree. And other top donut places in town, Roll and Donut Cafe. Do you know where the Roll and Donut Cafe is? I'm not familiar with Roll.
I believe it's Belvedere.
Okay. I don't know where that is.
I think it's Belvedere.
All Day Donut, which I believe is State Street.
Yep. The old Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, okay. Yep. Across the street from the Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah. And then one of my favorite bakeries in town, By the Dozen Bakery, up there in the park off on 251.
They're good too.
They're awesome too.
Yeah.
I compared their donuts and Doughboy Donuts. They're very, very similar in style and taste. So there's a few different varieties you can get at each one, but I'd have to agree. Doughboy Donuts. Kudos to your excellence.
They're very good.
Speaking of breakfast, were you ever a Grape Nuts guy, Tom?
Not really.
No,
not really. I no.
My dad used to get Grape Nuts when I was young, and I'd have a bowl every once in a while. But it's if you just pour a bowl of Grape Nuts, first off, they're small. They're pebbles. It's like eating rocks. Kind of.
They are. Right. Exactly.
One of the things I learned as a young guy, as a young boy, was a bowl of Grape Nuts. You don't need as much in the bowl as you do flakes. Flakes have a lot of air between them because, you fill up, but the Grape Nuts, there's not much air between them. So I would, as a youngster, I'd make the mistake of pouring myself too big of a bowl, and it was too hard to eat. So you don't need as many Grape Nuts in the bowl as you do flakes. And then of course, once you add milk, if you give it a few minutes, then they start to soften up a little bit. But if you wait too long, it just kind of turns to mush. It is.
Then it's like oatmeal.
Yeah. And I'd add some sugar to Grape Nuts, and I'd be happy with that. And I was okay. There was a shortage amidst the pandemic of Grape Nuts here in the last 5-6 months or whatever. Parent company Post Consumer Brands, they said in January that the cereal would be back fully on shelves by the spring. But going into the weekend, Post announced the cereal will be shipping at full capacity by mid-March. So I guess that's spring. They apologize for the shortage. They're holding a contest through March 19th, and 10 fans will win free Grape Nuts for an entire year. Go to facebook.com/Grape Nuts cereal, and good luck. We hope you win Grape Nuts for an entire year. Clem Arboretum.
If it's Captain Crunch for an entire year, sign me up.
Oh, love
Captain Crunch is the best cereal ever.
I haven't had Captain Crunch in ages, but that was a favorite too. Captain Crunch and its comparable King Vitamin. Remember King Vitamin?
I do remember King Vitamin. Yeah. Kind of a pale beige colored box and like orangish purplish letters or something. I do remember that. The second one though is Frosted Lucky Charms. They're magically delicious.
They're good.
That's my second favorite.
All right.
Yeah, they are.
Clem Arboretum and Botanical Garden, they announced they've joined the Museums for All program. Even though they're not technically a museum, were able to join Museums for All, a national cooperative initiative between the Institute of Museum and Library Services and the Association of Children's Museums. They're encouraging individuals of all backgrounds to visit museums regularly and build lifelong museum habits. They're offering free or reduced admission. So visitors with state-issued EBT cards or link cards or WIC cards, you're now eligible to receive free daily admission during regular normal hours to the Clem Arboretum and Botanical Garden in Rockford. That's a beautiful, beautiful place. I believe you can even, I'm not sure. I think they do snowshoeing stuff in the winter time at Clem too. But obviously the highlight of Clem is spring, summer, with all the blooms and the trees and the flowers and everything else that they got going on there. So
fall weddings
and all those wonderful weddings. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I've got a wedding that was scheduled for October of last year that got obviously postponed, and it's going to be this year, September of this year now.
Nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah.
Our friend Beth Thacker over at Northwestern Mutual, she's looking to help their team bring on some of the best college students to their top 10 internship team. Students who have a great work ethic, are coachable, and have a desire to build a business with an entrepreneurial spirit, encouraged to check out Northwestern Mutual and our local agent here, Beth Thacker. Looking for students that want to have a greater impact on their community through the work that they do. Call her office, 815-398-6636. She's a wonderful lady, will teach you well. 815-398-6636. And now for this week's randoms, I wonder if Joann is able to join us. She's in. She got in. Yep. And there she is. Good morning, Joann.
Good morning.
I thought you were just ignoring me.
No, I thought I let you in, and I apologize. I needed to give you permission to unmute, didn't I?
Yeah, you just ignored me.
I admitted you to the room and didn't follow through. So now you're there. All right. So we've got some randoms before we get into our little tour of the week. Texas residents, as we mentioned, facing rolling blackouts. Winter chill swept over the state this week, straining natural gas supplies. Chris Backey, he was on the My First Million podcast, and he's one of those financial guys. He had a really comical, perhaps in-depth thought tweet. He said, "Texas is proof. If you assemble enough Californians in any one place, a rolling blackout will occur." We've talked about how many people have left California for Texas. So kudos, Chris. The prolonged cold snap hampering oil production in Texas is expected to trigger a 10 to 20 cent increase in gas pumps in Rockford and the rest of the country. Yippee, yippee. Jaguar Land Rover announcing that the Jaguar brand will be all electric by the year 2025. And Land Rover will be releasing 6 fully electric models over the next 5 years. See how that goes. According to The Economist, metals that are used in electrical vehicle batteries are really, really jumping in price. Cobalt, lithium, copper, nickel, some of the rare earth metals that have seen prices surge in recent months. Electronic vehicle demand is rising. And that's going to be a kind of a catch-22 for these electronic vehicles. They're going to be too expensive to buy because the battery's going to cost too much. I'm not bullish on electrical vehicles yet. I'm not too excited about it yet. Here's a sign of the time. PayPal has passed MasterCard in value. PayPal is now valued at $340 billion. And the market value of PayPal has quadrupled since last year in March. Remember when MasterCard was kind of king? It's definitely not king anymore. Not even close. The Perseverance rover's 300-mile journey to Mars is complete. They're planned a 687-day mission to better understand whether the planet would make for a nice place to live. You know, put up a convenience store and a few houses.
There's some real estate opportunities for you.
That's right. I got a bridge in Mars to sell you. What do you guys think? Are we in our lifetime? Do you think we're going to see people on Mars?
No.
No way.
I know.
Didn't it take like 7 months to get there?
Yes.
6 months. Yeah.
6 something months. I know people are signed up to go. I know there's going to be an attempt.
I could sign up a few people to go.
Oh, there you go. I'm with you on that one.
I got a feeling within the next 10 years, I think they're going to send someone to try to actually go to Mars. Maybe I'm wrong. Elon Musk was on a show. I don't know if it was Joe Rogan's show or who it was, but he was talking about how the plan, it sounds like, is to get to the moon again first kind of do some sort of base on the moon and then launch from the moon to go to Mars. The other thing that was really interesting is when you look at the orbits of the planets, there's really only a window of a couple of, every 2 years where Mars is even close enough to consider going to Mars. Otherwise, it's way on the other side of the sun. So it's not going to happen. If it doesn't happen in 2 years, it'll have to wait for 4 years. And if it doesn't happen in 4 years, it'll have to wait till 6 years. You know what I'm saying? So I think someone's going to try to do it in our lifetime in the next 10 to 15 years, maybe. All right. We'll see what happens.
Write that down, Tom, and see if it's going to happen. We'll hold
when you say,
to it.
Okay, when you say people on Mars, you're astronaut types, maybe.
He's not talking people living on Mars.
I'm not talking.
Yeah, I really thought you were. Okay,
no, he's talking about sending someone to Mars.
I'm talking.
Yeah, no, I think that could happen. Absolutely,
yes,
I do.
The 6-month journey to get there, to say, look, we walked on the planet. Here's our box and our flag. Boom, let's go back.
Yeah,
and see if they can't get back. It's just mind-boggling to think that. I don't know. I'm thinking within the next 15 to 20 years that actually might be attempted. Will it work? I don't know. They got the Mars rover up there.
Yeah.
Either one of you.
And that picture that you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. I'll put it up while you say it. Go ahead.
Well, that picture that you showed, it looked like just ordinary desert or ordinary mountains or something. It looked very, very ordinary. Yeah. Look at that. It looks like something that you could drive your SUV over. It doesn't it? I mean, you could build a house right over here. You could
look at Greg's on Mars.
I made it. I'm broadcasting from Perseverance.
The floating head in the left hand is on Mars.
There you go. That's
you're a Martian.
That's obviously a mock-up of what they think it looked like. But anyway, they're there. They made it to Mars. Yeah, I got a feeling that we're going to see them attempt to get someone on Mars, but getting back to the moon is a big enough accomplishment in itself. So Mars is a whole other crazy thing. Either one of you fans of DC Comics or the Justice League?
No, not a comic book guy. Not a superhero guy.
Not me either. I do remember as a kid watching the Justice League cartoons with Superman and Wonder Woman and Batman and Aquaman.
I remember Super Friends.
The Super Friends. There was a difference, wasn't there? There was the Justice League and there was the Super Friends.
Yeah, and I don't remember. I thought Super Friends were, I don't know, Plastic Man and I don't even know. To be honest with you, I just remember weird kind of guys. Like Plastic Man could run his arm up through and unlock something and then come back. I don't know. Rob a bank. Who knows?
Well, the Justice League's trailer for the movie has been released, and the movie, the extended version, 4 hours. It'll be released to HBO Max in March.
No way.
And Marvel Comics and DC Comics, I'm okay with the movies. I'm not a fanatic of it, as some people are. But I'll probably watch the 4-hour movie when it comes out if I can get it for free. And for those who haven't been paying attention, Parler, the app, has returned. The company has released a new site. It's not clear who's hosting it, but Parler is back. And I wonder if I can't imagine it's back on an Amazon platform. It's probably something else. But the good news is it is back. So we do have an alternative to Facebook and other platforms, Twitter and such, if you wish. So those are our randoms for this week. It's already 8:54, Joann, and you're at Pause HQ.
Yes, I woke up and traveled here. So
you did
in the 0-degree weather.
I'm glad you made it. Do we have? It's a little bit quieter there than it's been.
Yes, no dogs today.
No dogs today.
Yeah.
What do you have? Do you want to show us?
I can do a quick trip.
All right, let's spotlight your video here and take a look around.
I'm trying to see. This is Dickens. Supposed to be 2 cats in here, but I only see the one on the. Is Dickens? This is a fluffy one who's kind of hiding.
Oh, look at that little white nose. That's cute.
He's got to be very fluffy because they even have a brush there. His name is Clyde.
Oh, Clyde.
I see kind of a reflection. And then we have some younger ones. Whoops, down he comes. This is a bonded pair. So they're 2 kittens. When we say bonded pair, we only adopt them together.
Yeah.
So there's an empty cage here. We have one of the volunteers, which I don't have my mask on. Now I forget. Now what did you tell me this was from the Odyssey?
Yeah, Circe. She was the master of the island in the Odyssey, the one that tried to trick him and Odysseus and his crew into staying. And
I don't know if you can hear him, but this is Circe, and then the matching here. Matching.
Not matching. Hecate is the goddess of magic.
Okay, Hecate. New names for me. Hecate. I don't know who is here. He's cleaning the cage here.
I'm cleaning this one. Hecate.
Did you lose me? I don't hear anything. Here's a reclining kitty.
Uh-huh.
Calvin.
Oh, he's a beautiful cat.
What's up, Calvin?
And this one is Lambrusco. Did I say that right? Lambrusco? Kind of trying to be quick because Greg didn't give me much time. Here's volunteers working. I always say this, we couldn't work without our volunteers. Couple of kittens. Toby.
Where's Clarice?
Clarice got adopted.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's a good thing, but
It's not a bummer.
No. I just love seeing Clarice every week. I'm glad she got adopted. That is.
And the one cat we focused on last week, which was the longest, that cat where they were making a Valentine's special. I can't remember her name, but she was adopted last week. They made her a Valentine's sweetheart.
Oh, that's cool.
This is the community room. It was kind of funny. It's a little younger cat. Don't know, he's got a fuzz on top of his head.
Yeah.
Oop. Usually the ones in the community room get along.
Usually.
Except for that moment.
Yeah.
Again, for our friends on Facebook, you're not seeing this video because we can't do them both at the simultaneous, but you're hearing Joann talk. You can see the video on YouTube. So click the link, join us on YouTube, and you can see all these beautiful cats.
I think we don't have as many cats as we usually do. It's been kind of slow with, here's Dickens. Oh, I started with Dickens.
All right.
And there's our he's licking up a little more. This cat's also FIV positive.
We can see in the reflection too that the cats can see out the window. You can say natural.
Yeah. This causes a really nice, bright, airy building.
Nice. Well, thank you, Joann. That was great. We want to give us a quick dad joke with Bill. Bill's dad joke this week. Good news from the furniture factory. The guy who fell into the upholstery machine fully recovered. All right. We've got a drum roll, please, for our big number of the week.
This is a big one for Tom.
It's a tie score, 6-6. That's
Right.
right. The official score pad says 6-6.
So Tom might go in the lead today. It's very stressful.
Big number of the week this week is 354,000. Oh, that's a big number. The answer is it cakes or college? Cakes or college? And give me your answer in 3, 2, 1.
Cakes.
You both said cakes.
Yeah.
Yep.
You both said cakes.
Is that good or bad?
Tied at 7 now, ladies and gentlemen. They're both getting a point.
Yay!
I'm going to try to show this, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to or not. I'm going to give my best. There is highlights, videos. Are you gonna? I want to see a video. There it is. Okay, there it is. This is probably going to work. So Jeffrey Walker and his wife Pauline are a couple of seniors in the UK. They're proving that social media isn't just for youngsters. They have been blowing up Instagram with their hilarious home movies. They've got over 350,000 followers. He's 90 years old.
Wow.
They regularly post videos of everything from quilting to baking cakes. And here is an example of that.
You guys want me to put them on the bowl, so I just put them out on the side.
She's baking a cake.
It looks like crepes.
Oh.
What I gather from
I can.
It's pancake day.
Huh.
No.
Orange sugar. So there's an example of one of the things they've been doing. See if I can show this too. I'm probably gonna break the internet now. All right, we'll go back. Why am I still hearing that? Stop the share. Okay. All right. So anyway, that was pretty fun. Over 354,000 followers on their Instagram page. Kudos to Jeffrey and his wife Pauline over there in the UK. When it comes to college, 65% of United States college graduates have student loan debt. The average loan amount is $37,000, and student debt collectively is totaling over $1.7 trillion right now. So what do folks do who want to buy a house if they got all that debt? Good news. There's something now called Smart Buy Student Loan Program that might help you out. The program offers up to 15% of the sales price of the house you're buying to pay off your student loan debt. So if your student loan debt exceeds that amount, you might not be eligible for the program, but it's definitely worth a call to a good local lender. Contact me for a referral if you want to check that out. Smart Buy Student Loan.
So I'm trying to understand this. So you add your student loan to your debt on your house?
On your mortgage. Yeah. So if you buy $100,000 house and you've got $15,000 in student loan debt, you can tack that on.
Okay. I don't have any student loan. So I went through the government and I had to teach in a certain program to qualify to.
Yeah.
So I had to teach for 4 years and then in a low income area.
Mm-hmm.
And I came to Rockford.
Yeah.
Wow.
We've heard.
I actually taught on the west side of Rockford for 4 years.
And that paid off your student loan debt.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
That is good.
Good
now
deal.
I hear music.
Well, yeah, let's wrap things up here. Thanks to Mike Wilson joining us from Texas and filling us in on how things are going there. Thanks to Bill for our weekly dad joke. And check out our Facebook page for updates throughout the week. We'll try to come back here and do this again live next week at 8, like we do every week. This was a close one, Tom. Way to go.
Yeah.
Tom had some Zoom challenges, but I think it was more his computer because Joann got through like she normally does. So the rebooting of your computer must have been something to do with that.
Well, I think that's what did it. It reset all of the Zoom settings, and then I had to go in and reset them. I think you're right. It's probably what it was.
All right, friends. Well, remember, you change the world when you help one person. Be a blessing to someone this week, and we'll meet you back here next week for another show. What do you say?
Sounds good to me.
All right. Take care,
Bye.
guys.
Bye. Bye.